Hey, it's Charlotte again. Thanks for watching. If you're watching these, I know there's quite a few of them now, um, and yeah, getting getting more comfortable with the whole idea of vlogging and this camera in front of me all the time. I'm just gonna show you what I've just finished. I've just done 28 days worth of my tablets again. I package them up into dosett boxes. These little beauty things. So inside each one of these is, I think it's in the region of 18. I've not counted recently how many I put in there, but there's around about 18 different prescription tablets in there that I take every day. I take them all at certain times, and they're broken up into those 4 time slots that they're taken at. So the first one is at 6 a.m., which I usually stay awake after work to take this. Then the next one's 12 noon. I usually wake up, take these, and then go back to sleep. And then the next one is at 10 p.m. And the final one is just 3 hours before I go to bed, which varies depending on what day I'm working. So sometimes that actually gets taken with my 6 a.m. dose, which, yeah, can lead to quite a lot of tablets being in my mouth, because the first dose I take in the morning is three estradiol varilate, three gabapentin tablets, which are the fairly big ones, one flaxseed oil, and because my body doesn't particularly agree with fish oils, so we use a flaxseed to get the omega-3 in, and a vitamin D tablet, which I was advised to take by my gender endocrinologist. So he looks after all of my sort of hormone levels. Dr. Seal down at St. George's Hospital. He's a great guy. I've met him privately because before I actually started my medical transition within the NHS, I actually took a slightly different pathway, which it does help you and it doesn't at the same time, because you still have to go through all the same loops and hurdles again. So you got to be comfortable with telling your story to a doctor. Like, you get asked questions from way back when, like, what did you think this, that, and the other at this age, and you get pushed to talk about like your childhood and things like that, and quite a lot of it is done just to ensure that decisions have been made in the right sort of way, and it does take about an hour, usually maybe 2 hours, to sort of like tell that story, especially to somebody that you don't know, because you've got to get comfortable with them. You literally go from like birth all the way to the present, and my story has a lot of complications in it because of the fact that when I was a student at university, I was still registered at my parents' address with my local GP there. So my GP was in Manchester and I was living in London. And whilst the nearest gender clinic in London would be Charing Cross, I was actually having to travel all the way up to Leeds to visit the gender clinic there. And I would have to like try and rearrange appointments and things like that to fit around my university stuff, and it didn't really work all that well, because when I would get a letter sent to my university, I would get a bunch of letters from my GP saying, "Oh, you need to change your address and update it because this address is outside of our catchment area," and I'm like, "Can you not see that it's a university address, like, clearly?" But at the same time, I'm sort of also fighting a battle with trying to get time off and head up to Leeds every month so that I can visit the gender clinic there and get the paperwork that I needed. So yeah, that took me a lot of days out of uni. Like, I would travel up the day before, stay at a friend's house, and then travel across from Bradford to Leeds, take a bus from Leeds City Centre out to the clinic, and then have my appointment, come back, meet up with my friend, and we'd go out and do something, and then I'd head back to London. Um, so yeah, it was quite a hectic sort of time back then, and that was back in 2011. Um, Bearing in mind that I'd waited 18 months for the referral to come through, and then kind of because of the situation with my personal life and the situation with my sort of like studying and things, it kind of didn't work. So I was discharged from Leeds, and told what my next steps should be, and I took those steps. So I socially transitioned, whilst in my at the end of my first year of university. So when I went into my second year, I changed all my name legally. I updated everything with my university and made sure that all my paperwork was changed over. So my actual foundation degree certificate is in my name now. I don't actually even know where that certificate is. I did a foundation degree in stage management and technical theatre, and I work in one of the most accepting industries you could probably work in, which is the entertainment industry. And I'm a technician, so a lot of people get me kind of perceived wrong, and I used to be able to do a lot more than I can now. Like, a lot of things have been aggravated by the fact that I have changed all of my hormones over and things like that. So it's a sort of secondary cause to a lot of my issues now. I would have had them anyway. It's just I have kind of exacerbated them in a way by pushing myself a little bit, in some ways for physical change, and those physical changes have been in my favor. Like, I'm not ever going to sort of turn around and say blah blah blah. This happened because I wanted it. I have no control over it. Would have happened anyway. I'd have just been slightly later in life, if I think about it. I was already hypermobile. I was told that when I was 11 years old. This was before any hormone replacement treatments or anything like that. And yeah, so the HRT does play a big part in it, but there's other factors such as lifestyle and and other things that I have not really pursued in myself, like, and now it's just playing a bit of a battling game to regain some of that strength that's been lost. And yes, there is the timeline now where I'm around about 2 years on hormones. My hormones were stabilized, around about 2 years ago now. I started in 2016. Around about the middle of 2016. If I was to get the paperwork out, I'd know exactly the date that I started. That was back when I was living down in Elephant and Castle, and my GP was fantastic then because he just did everything that I asked of him, and he was really sort of easy to work with. Now my GP in between, so my GP over at Handel Street at the clinic there was really hard to work with. She'd only allow certain things that were, if you ask me personally, they were slightly out of line with what the NHS actually says about shared care, and it caused a very complicated rift between me and my GP. And then I was having other problems which weren't helping me, and I was becoming depressed, and anxiety was starting to set in because I just was never sure if the next day I was going to get up and be in a better or worse state than I was the day before, and I was deteriorating quite rapidly. I was living in a flat on the 4th floor, no lift or anything. I had to walk up the stairs every day, and I would avoid going back up to my flat. So I would come down with all my stuff once in the morning or whatever, and I would generally just sort of avoid going back to my flat, because genuinely it would take me 20 minutes to get up the stairs to my flat. And yeah, it just, I wish that sort of I'd moved to a different place at the time, because it would have been more beneficial to me. Or I do also wish at the same time that I'd have gone through the process that I spoke to the council about, which would have meant that I would have had to have done something that would have sort of stopped me from ever being a guardian again. I'm a property guardian, which means I look after properties on behalf of a company. I'm not really a tenant, but I'm not really a security guard either. I'm here on a licensed basis. It's almost on the same sort of basis as a lodger, where you don't have very many rights to the property, but you have the right to be there, and the right to a safe environment. And it all gets really complicated. I don't really want to get too much into property guardianship in this video. I'm more sort of wanted to talk about like how many tablets I take a day and how I manage that. So I take 4 doses of different tablets every day. I take 3 doses of 500 milligrams of gabapentin 3 times a day, so I'm on 1500 milligrams now, which is approximately half the maximum dose. I think it's about 2,800 milligrams for the maximum dose, so I've only got a little bit left, which is a little bit scary, because it's actually quite a scary drug to be on because of the side effects that I get. So I get a lot of headaches, I get very forgetful, and yeah, every time I up my dose by 100 milligrams, my memory kind of just shuts down and it becomes really appalling. And then, like, I'll start forgetting to actually take my tablets, which is even more fun, because there are risks with gabapentin of, if you don't take it, there are risks there of things like seizures and things like that. Now, I'm talking about the extreme risks. This is not for everyone. And because it's an anti-epileptic drug in its primary actual use, you have those factors to factor into the usage of it. And I did a lot of research before I started taking it, and I advise anyone to do a lot of research before they start taking any drug, because there's a lot out there on the internet, and all you got to do is type it into Google. Make sure you read a lot of different sources, and try and get as reliable a source as possible, because you're gonna read things that are like horror stories from people on like Mumsnet or whatever. Mumsnet, why am I thinking of even saying that? You're going to read things on forums and places like Mumsnet that might say, oh, I've been on this drug, this blah blah blah. And all I can say is you need to do as much research as you can, understand what you're about to take before you start taking it, even if your GP is advising you to take it, because there are side effects that you might not be comfortable with, and your GP doesn't know that. So you need to sort of understand what side effects to expect, and then take a tablet. My estrogen, the estrogen that I take every day, I take 6 milligrams once a day. That's 3 little boy pills, which is why I like to wind people up a little bit with that one, because I am always like, yeah, do you want a little boy pill? As a bit of a joke, because some of the side effects of that are obviously mood swings, hot flushes. Some of the lesser known side effects are they can be a contributory cause of gallstones. You've got one of the most significant side effects is that if you don't drink enough water, or you fly a lot and things like that, you increase significantly your risk to deep vein thrombosis. It's included smoking that increases that risk, and being overweight can increase that risk by about 20 times if you smoke and are overweight. Now, I'm overweight. My BMI is like way up. It's like 35 or something like that. I'm 114 kilos as of today. Before Christmas, I was about 118. I dropped to 112 just after New Year, after my surgery. I've gone up a little bit, but I'm working very hard to bring that down because I was 104.6 about 3 weeks ago. So that's what it bobbed back up to once my system was full again. Because you forget about the weight of like all the food traveling through your digestive system. Yeah, so those are the main ones that I take. Vitamin D, because I am slightly insufficient, so my vitamin D drops below the like average by about 3 points or 5 points, I think it is, on the measure that they use. And the omega-3 is just to try and see if that helps with my joint pains, which I'm trying a lot of different things with that, so like things like magnesium supplements and things like that. So just putting in and pulling out little different supplements in order to like understand and see whether there's something that I can change within my diet to better my health and my pain levels, because those are the things that I'm trying to control the most right now in terms of with my sort of work with physio and everything. It's all trying to manage the pain levels and making it manageable so that I can still live a day-to-day life, still work, and still continue to work in the future. And that's what we're working towards. Alright, I'm going to end it there. It's a a short video about sort of my my sort of like tablet situation and how I deal with that, and how I go through quite a lot. So we went through 100 of the 100 milligrams because I finished off a box. I went through one box of estrogen because I get 3 trays of a month, so that's 1 month for me because I take 3 a day. I finished off a box of amitriptyline because that's again 1 month in each box. I generally get my tablets in like when they come to me, they're in like a month's supply in each box. So when I make them up into my dosettes, I roughly know what I have left. But I use an app on my phone to remind me of when to take my tablets, and it also pings off when I need to reorder my prescriptions. Sometimes I have to order certain things just to balance it out. But yeah, generally I do quite well. Right, I'm gonna get going because I need to upload this video because it's now like 7:20. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It will appear somewhere on the screen. If you want to watch any of the other videos, the playlist will be in the top. Somewhere over here. I'm going to try and put it there. The previous video will be down here. In the bottom left, I think that is. I'm not sure because I'm not sure if my camera is mirroring the image that I see. And the top right will be the next video when that comes out tomorrow. So thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell if you want to see more and hear more of my dulcet tones moaning slightly about my overall health. Please do. And if you haven't watched it, on Netflix there's a great series called Dogs. I'm not going to say much more on it. I've been really enjoying it. It's been making me cry as well, especially the first episode, but the rest of them are a little bit less emotional. But I've been really enjoying listening to them whilst I've been doing and watching them whilst I've been doing my tablets this evening. I'm gonna pop a little stop motion. The